The Auslander. Buongiorno. This video is about the Roman Colosseum, and I'm not just going to cover the Colosseum Tour, but I'll cover all the attractions in the area because they come in like a package. I booked this tour on getyourguide.com. It included the Roman Forum, Palatine Hill, and the Colosseum. One thing good about this tour is that you get to go under the Colosseum. The Colosseum is in the heart of Rome and super simple to get to. You can catch the bus or the metro or take a taxi or just walk. The only hard part that might throw you off is the name. We call it Colosseum, but the Italians call it Colosseo. Alright, let's start. The first tour is the Roman Forum, which literally translates into city center. We have some government buildings here. Honestly, I wasn't really listening to this part of the tour. There were Karens in our group, so I had to find an area that was far from them, which I did, and it made the tour much better. Ancient Basilica. Trajan's Column. One treat was that we got to go under the Forum. This part was really interesting. You can see it in the background. It was the Roman marketplace built by the Emperor Trajan around 100 AD. The marketplace had everything. It had the best spices. It had a barbershop. You could buy clothes. It was like a modern day mega mall. This was my favorite part of the tour, Palatine Hill and the story of the Vestal Virgins. Initially, I thought the virgins were concubines, but they weren't. These girls were handpicked between the ages of 6 and 10 years old, and they had to be perfect. Not only beautiful, but they had to come from a wealthy family. They lived right on the hill, and there were 6 of them. They would stay a virgin until they were 30 years old. If they fooled around, the punishment would be to be buried alive. One of their jobs was to keep the flame going. The virgins would take turns maintaining the fire. If the fire went out for any reason, they would be buried alive. And it was hard to keep this fire going because of, wind and rain, amongst other things. Finally, the Colosseum Tour, with the special access to under the arena. We had to wait for the guy to grant us special access underground. If you are wondering, most tours just do the ground level. However, this tour did all 3 levels. And in all honesty, just pay the money for it. It's worth it. I thought this was really interesting. They had these waterways under the Colosseum, and it must have been fucking disgusting because they had to transport the sewage. They also had to clean up the blood from the fights.
As I expected, it is quite this time of year. Even though he and I are still impressed. I've become slightly.
Here's another interesting feature, these elevator shafts. So animals and gladiators would be transported to the ground level through these shafts, which I think took like 4 men to operate. Alright, so the way they did it was all theatrics. For example, the bottom floor was designed like a jungle, and then like a tiger would pop out through the shaft, and then people were like, oh shit, what is that? So you got to think that many Romans, this was their first time seeing the animal. The main event was your superstar. So in this case, like someone like Spartacus would, fight another gladiator.
It is, and this is original.
It looks like it's chiseled. I didn't know.
It's been broken basically. And then all this.
You want me to turn around?
Well, yeah.
The Colosseum could fit 50,000 people. It definitely is a modern marvel. It was built in 70 AD. Can you imagine how smart you have to be to design something like this? Check this out, a fucking urinal on the 3rd floor. Unbelievable. The Roman Empire eventually fell around 400 AD, and so people stole parts of the Colosseum. That's why there are some missing pieces. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching my video on the Colosseum Tour. And as the Italians say, ciao!